the wily waiter with the walrus with waxed lips. Hey there! Welcome back to the golden age of DC Comics, 365 days, where I take this beloved, well-worn gift from one of my best friends given to me about 2 decades ago, this wonderful coffee table book. This has surfed all of my coffee tables ever since. What goes better with coffee table and coffee table talk? You need some coffee. You need to pull up a chair, come up to the coffee table, and keep grinding. And let's have some coffee table talk about comic books. Tanzanian peaberry. It's a wonderful, wonderful bean. It's the golden age of DC Comics, 365 days. This is an Abrams book published in 2004. It's a hardcover coffee table book. It's been curated, and the blurbs are written by Les Daniels, Chip Kidd, and Geoff Spear. There's a link in the description to the Amazon page if you want your own copy. It makes a great gift. I know, because I got this as a gift. And it's a great excuse to talk about comic books every day. And I'm going to be talking about comic books every day for the rest of the year. The intended purpose of this book are 365 days. You crack the book open, you come to today's date, which is April the 25th, okay? And I'm going to show you some comic art from the golden age. There's a blurb I'm going to read, and then we're going to talk about comic books just like we used to do at the comic book shop. And I miss those conversations and those experiences, the camaraderie, the vibe, even the arguments and debates, Thing versus Hulk, still goes on to this day and should be. But here's an old friend, and if you didn't know, got his start in the golden age. The golden age of DC Comics runs from 1938, Action Comics #1, the first appearance of Superman, up until 1955. That's the golden age of DC Comics. The Silver Age begins with Showcase #4 in 1956. That's the first appearance of Barry Allen, the new Flash. The Silver Age lasts from 1956 until 1970. The Bronze Age begins in 1970 and runs until 1985. And apparently we're stuck in some nebulous catch-all modern era of comics from 1985 until now. I just think that's just does not appeal to my suspension of disbelief as a fiction fan. Enough said on that. Let's get on to today's blurb and everything. It is April the 25th. And our King of the Seas, you know him, Arthur Curry, you might know him as Aquaman, the King of Atlantis, a man of two worlds. It's DC had his aquatic hero, as opposed to Timely Comics, who had Namor the Submariner, and who was fighting World War II over in Timely Comics. Timely Comics would eventually become Marvel Comics. Yep, that's the golden age of Marvel Comics, is called Timely Comics. That would be maybe that's next year's subject, huh? But let's read the blurb, and this art is from Ramona Fraden from Adventure Comics it's Adventure Comics number 170 from November of 1951, this is when superhero comics were really dying down for at least 5 years. The only comic books to make it and continually published until the Silver Age were Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. So, this is in 1941, newly appointed editor Mort Weisinger introduced several costumed characters into the pages of More Fun Comics, but they were later transferred to Adventure Comics, where they lasted long enough to be part of the permanent pantheon of DC superheroes. Aquaman may not have been the first important undersea hero. That credit should go to Bill Everett's Submariner, published by Timely Comics. Yet Aquaman made an impression because of his ecological harmony with nature, as exemplified by his ability to communicate with all the denizens of the deep. In this story, he loses that power. Everything works out, of course. But in the meantime, this poignant panel may remind readers of old newspaper strip by Claire Briggs, When a Feller Needs a Friend. So, yeah, very deep references to a bygone era. And but Aquaman says to the creatures of the sea, "Get back, I say, get back, all of you! I can't understand it. Why have the fish turned against me? You know how Aquaman, monarch of the deep, keeps oceanic order by his uncanny kinship with the finny folk of the sea. But suppose a force of evil managed to gain mastery over marine land, turning Aquaman's former friends against him. You'll find the thrilling answer in this story. Mutiny under the sea." How was that? Aquaman, though, yeah. Okay, let's look up Aquaman real quick on the wiki. Come to the wiki machine. Yes, indeed. Content creator. Read wiki. Like you've never heard a wiki read before. I just snorted. But yeah, there was the Silver Age Aquaman. And that came after this. That was the Aquaman that I grew up with, because there were the Filmation cartoons. Was it, that those I grew up with that. And that was like the first appearance of Aqualad, and who's the girlfriend, and the walrus, and the starfish that he rode, and yeah. So that was, and then that Aquaman became one of the founding members of the Super Friends, and we know that guy. You know, that famous sound effect. I remember when they brought Aquaman back, that first time in the early 2000s, that he really stuck, and then just the fan service and the Easter egg of him using the talking to the fish's power, but it was the onomatopoeia was with these circles around his head. That was the callback to Alex Toth's designs of the Super Friends, and that was fun. And but Aquaman, yeah, he had a movie that made $1 billion. You might know Jason Momoa as Aquaman, and that's, he's the modern Aquaman. I don't have any problems with his casting. No, I guess not. I mean, he sells. I mean, he's got the physique for it. He brings himself to the role. Kind of like John Wayne. You have a John Wayne movie, you can expect to be pleased by a John Wayne doing his thing in this character. Well, I think Jason Momoa's got that same kind of vibe and energy that he brings himself to it. Like Khal Drogo in Game of Thrones was probably the furthest from his natural sense of humor and ebullience. Like watching him in Dune, I felt that he was a great Duncan Idaho. Yet, part of but he made Duncan his own. I really, really like that. So you had that Jason Momoa energy and ebullience and sense of dash, and then in Duncan Idaho, and if it follows the books, we'll be seeing more and more of Jason Momoa in future Dune movies, I hope. And but yeah, let's look at this Aquaman art one more time. Yeah, it's just a 1951 comic book, the waning days of superhero comics in the golden age. They were about to be replaced by westerns, shoot 'em ups, romance novels, sci-fi things, and then superheroes come back in a big way in 1956 with the Flash, the new interpretation of it, with a science hero. Shortly after that new Flash came the new Green Lantern, and then it keeps going on. The never-ending battle of truth and justice in the American way. And it's been the golden age of DC Comics. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to be talking about comic books every day for the rest of the year. So tune in tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern US, and we'll find out who and what we're talking about when we crack the book open and turn the page. Thank you so much for tuning in. Like and subscribe if you could be so kind. I'd love to earn your subscription. I really would. I make cooking videos. I have a playlist called What's Cooking. Check it out. I'm a professional chef. I'm apparently pretty good at my job. And I'm a spiritual guy, an amateur theologian, an ordained minister. I talk spirituality here. So you can check out my playlist of the gratitude lists and the Sunday sermons. And I hopefully can share the power of gratitude with you as it was shared with me and the impact it had on my life. It's there for you. Take it. And we also talk about comic books every day and hopefully just reinvigorating the spirit of those old comic book shop conversations we used to have back in the day. So thank you so much for tuning in. Leave a comment. Let's continue this conversation. Like and subscribe. Retweet if you can, as well. I'd love that. I mean, I would love to be part of your daily YouTube experience. You have a great day. Thank you so much for tuning in. God bless. Good luck. Namaste. And we'll see you tomorrow, okay? Bye-bye.